All right, here we go. All right. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Well, it's Miguel again. And it's late January. I think it's like the 29th of January, which is a Friday, 2021. And just going for another walk. And it's a beautiful, clear night tonight, mainly because it's been raining like gangbusters the last couple days, and so it's looking pretty nice out here. It's definitely clear skies, not a cloud in the sky, in fact. We've got nearly a full moon, and we've got bright stars up ahead, up in the sky. We've got Orion straight up in the winter sky. It's about 8 o'clock p.m. right now. And just moving along. Glad to get out, do something different than sitting at home. This teleworking stuff is great in many respects, but in some respects, it's, well, still a lot of sitting. So I really enjoy and value these times when I can get out, get a little exercise. It's true I get exercise in the mornings when I go to the gym, but it's often not enough to go just one time for like an hour and a half, even though I'm doing stuff all day long. Oh, I just caught a glimpse of the moon and noticed that there's like a rainbow around the moon. So that's pretty amazing. Although it's not a rainbow, it's really just kind of like an arc. And then it completely encircles the moon. Oh, well, maybe I'm mistaken. I just see a glow of the moon. Yeah, so pretty interesting stuff. I love the moon. Thankfully, there's a moon. I think this planet Earth would be a whole lot less interesting without a moon. I am so happy we have at least one moon. And how intriguing is it that we see only one side of the moon at any time? That's really pretty profound. So lately I've been thinking about my gym that I usually go to, and while I've really been enjoying it lately, there is an issue that's cropped up recently, and that is that the gym has been moving its outdoor operations to only indoor operations. Basically, it's been closing down the outdoors section and only leaving the indoor section available for people to use. And so that's kind of a drag, because I was really appreciating the outdoor nature of the gym that I was going to. And my immune system is still quite vulnerable to COVID-19, and so, I'm thinking about doing stuff like taking a workout break for a week, just until my immune system can build up some resistance. Now, I'd probably still go to the gym, I just wouldn't go to the indoor part of the gym. I would just go swimming, say, in the mornings. Maybe I could go swimming 5 days of the week. That would be an interesting way to spend my time. I don't know. I guess there's other possibilities. I was thinking about possibly joining another gym like Cathedral Oaks Activity Club or Athletic Club. But I'm not so sure about that. I don't know. It's really tough for me. Although, one thing I was considering recently is how similar gyms are to just going to the grocery store. When a person goes to the grocery store, they may stay in that grocery store for 45 minutes or an hour. And the same is true at the gym. And people, in fact, are closer to one another at the grocery store as they pass by the aisles than they are at the gym quite often. I'm able to keep 6 foot distance pretty reasonably. You know, I really just caught a glimpse of just how beautiful it is here in Santa Barbara, in Goleta. I'm loving these homes. Some of them I see have fireplaces going. Like that is really picturesque. I'm enjoying the sight of a chimney and the sort of the fire in the chimney and the smoke dripping out of the stack and the smoke sort of rising past the moon. You know, it's pretty amazing. And you know, these people who live here in Santa Barbara are really fortunate to have these homes. Yeah, it's pretty awesome. It makes me wonder if it's possible for me to have a home here in Santa Barbara, and I think it is. I think I could possibly pick up a condo here, but I don't know. Might be easier for me just to find someone who already owns a home and move in with them instead of uh, um, buying a home here. That's an intriguing thought that I haven't had before. That's pretty unusual. Kind of out of left field there. But it's kind of cold right now. I can also see a palm tree here in someone's yard, and it's kind of interesting to contrast the cold of how cold it is outside with the palm tree and out here in somebody's yard. Oh, look at that. I see Toyota of Lompoc. Somebody's purchased a Toyota from Toyota of Lompoc. That's kind of interesting. Speaking of Toyotas, I'm getting close to the point where I'm going to make a purchase and buy a Toyota vehicle. Probably not at the Toyota dealership. I think I'm just probably going to buy an electric car. And actually it's going to be a hybrid electric and gasoline. Yeah, I think I'm going to get a Toyota Prius. I pretty much have saved up the money already, and I just, you know, I could save up for another month or two perhaps. Maybe by March or April. I have been saving money up for about a year now. You know, ever since this COVID-19 thing started, because, you know, I realized that if I'm going to live in Goleta, that I'm going to definitely want to have some kind of vehicle that I can use for the back and forth trip. A vehicle that's really efficient with using gasoline. And so, I think that's what I'm going to do. Gonna pick up a vehicle like that probably this summer, or maybe this spring. We'll see how it goes. Kind of depends if I can find something. The kind of vehicle that I have in my mind is just a white Toyota Prius, and you know, whatever I can pick up for something like 10 grand, I think. Some moderate used vehicle. Oh, look! I see an airplane. It's crossing beside the moon. So, well, that's an idea. We'll see how far I can move on that. I think I'm definitely going to have to move that. Going to have to get that Toyota Prius. It's really quite inefficient for me to drive a minivan back and forth from Goleta to Lompoc and Lompoc back to Goleta again. That just doesn't make any sense. Although I really enjoy my minivan, I love my minivan, I probably won't give it up. At least I hope I won't. And, you know, we'll do my best. You know, it's all about making the best decisions I can. And I sure wish housing in Santa Barbara was a little bit more reasonable. But, I don't know. I guess it makes sense that housing is a little bit more expensive in a place that's so desirable to live. Yeah, I guess that just makes sense. So I'm really excited about my daughter, Emily. I'm excited that she's going to be graduating from her junior year in high school at Cabrillo High School, and I'm just so excited about her entering her senior year, and I certainly hope that I can go to her graduation. And I hope that we're able to connect in the years after she graduates from high school. I think it'll be easier and easier, I hope, as she matures to build a more solid relationship with her. At least that is my wish. My number one wish. I'm finding that I think I've heard that this evening it is 47 degrees Fahrenheit out here, and you know what? This feels okay. Feels just fine, honestly. Boy, so what's going on with me today? I don't know. My mind is spinning. It's actually not spinning. Oh gosh, I'm just really captivated by the sky these days. I want to learn a lot. I want to learn more about the stars and the constellations, and I want to learn more about what's in the sky. I also want to learn more about what's on the ground. I've been using, Google Lens lately, and I've been using that to good effect. I've been pointing my lens at various plants that surround me, and I'm learning the names of all the plants. So that's really cool. I'm really excited to get to know the names of the plants. It's really awesome. Yeah, it's really awesome to get to know the names of all the plants. I'm sure there are a lot of things that I could be using Google Lens for that I'm not using Google Lens for. Yeah. So I'm excited about this weekend coming up. It's nice to have a break from the workaday work during the day, and move along doing this thing that I do every day, this thing called life. I'm glad my body is really hanging in there. Yesterday I finished my weightlifting efforts, and I kind of had some shoulder pain in my left shoulder, but it left me. It actually got better hour by hour until I didn't really feel it anymore, and then today it was gone, and then I could do other in fact, today was my arm blast workout exercise, and so I really don't feel my shoulder pain anymore, which is great. And it makes me wonder about how weightlifting will affect my joints and whether it'll make them stronger. I'm sure make them stronger, and I'm almost certain that I'm less prone to injury now because of my weightlifting efforts. It's kind of funny. Weightlifting, I think, probably has a dual effect. On the one hand, it prevents injury, but on the other hand, it also creates injuries, depending on your form and other things. So, I guess it's sort of like a catch-22. But I'll tell you what, all the injuries that I've sustained through weightlifting, and there haven't been any major ones. But I've been able to heal from them pretty rapidly. Usually they take about a week, and maybe I stretch a muscle here or there. I haven't really had any serious injuries, which is great. I try to live in a very safe way by maintaining form and going very gradually and very slowly. But because I'm new to weightlifting, that doesn't always happen, and my form gets off, and I become a little bit interested in chasing after the heavier weight. And so And then sometimes my eccentric or concentric um, movements are a little faster than I'd like to move them, and sometimes I never really, they're not ever really ballistic, but I could probably go slower on some of my movements. Anyway, I'm just learning, and so the injuries I get are pretty minor, and so I'm really glad for that. And I really don't expect to ever. I actually am a very conservative weightlifter. I think I definitely don't push the limits, and especially with my reps. I only have like 12 reps a set, and 5 sets. So basically, what that means is I'm hitting 60 reps per exercise. Which, what is it? What is 12 times 5? I think that's 60, right? That's 60 reps in exercise. So if I can feel good about the contraction and the arc that I'm making when I perform the exercise or each rep, if I can feel good about each rep for 60 reps, then I'm doing something right. Now I must admit that there's some exercise where my reps are just partials, but sometimes I do that just to stress the muscle and make sure that I'm really exerting the muscle as much as I can. There's some exercises like shoulder raises and things like that where I think partials make sense, and there are times that I'm just reluctant to lower the weight. The partials are, they're not bad to have every once in a while. So anyway, at least so long as I'm not swinging my torso all over tarnation, which is kind of something. I did some shoulder work earlier this week, and I was doing some shoulder raises, overhead shoulder raises with a dumbbell, one arm each, one arm at a time, and I noticed my form was a little getting tweaked because, like I said, I was just doing one arm at a time instead of both arms. So there was some misalignment happening, and so I don't know what I'm going to do with that. I think I'm realizing why people do sort of like overhead presses with the Olympic bar, and not dumbbells, because, well, you know what, now that I'm thinking about it, I think the way I'm going to go in the future is I'm going to use machines. Because with the machine, I think I can control my form better than if I had just an isolated dumbbell. So maybe that's what I'll do. Well, I tell you, I sure do love having machines as a fallback. Because if you get a nice machine, you can still maintain form. There's limits of the things, but sometimes maintaining your form is really important. And sometimes you just, I guess what I could do is just use lighter weights. But here's the thing, my muscles can handle the heavier weights. It's just that some apparently secondary muscles just aren't as good at it. So I don't know. Anyway, I'm glad that I did spot an overhead press machine that I think will be useful to me. So here's the thing with using machines, particularly when it comes to shoulder work, is that sometimes I notice like my tendons snap or something, I get some, because I'm not able to go through my range of motion in like my natural range of motion because I'm sort of sitting in a machine. There's some misalignments that happen, so I guess I got to be really cognizant of that. I want to make sure that no misalignments happen. I might have to move around to make sure that I can fit and maneuver within that machine as well as I can. So anyway, enough about that, I suppose. What else is going on? Well, Lately, I've been thinking a lot about psychology and how I create my own problems, particularly as it relates to using the word should, and certainly being insistent about the way the world ought to be, and how that creates a lot of tension and upset. And anyway, I just want to say that I'm feeling a lot better. I think I'm doing a better job sort of making sure that I'm not injuring myself, I'm not hurting myself psychologically by being a little bit too rigid. Here's the thing though, I think that there's also a problem with being not rigid enough, where, and this is something I'm exploring lately, I'm not always, I'm not really sure how hard to press in any one direction or another. I guess, maybe it just doesn't matter. It probably doesn't matter, because here's the thing. It actually doesn't matter what happens in the world, because the human brain adapts. It doesn't matter how much money I make, because if I made $1 million, my brain would adapt to the $1 million figure. If I made $1,000, my brain would adapt to the $1,000 figure. It's interesting to think. It's funny. It's interesting for me to think about the brain and adaptation, because it actually doesn't matter what situation I find myself in, because I'll tell you, my brain is going to adapt to it, whether I'm single or coupled, doesn't matter. Whether I have money or don't, doesn't matter. Whether I'm employed or not, doesn't matter. Whether I'm healthy or not, well, I think health probably does matter. But I think that there are people, I know people who are like overweight and sickly, and they just adapt to their new environment as an overweight, sickly person. Although I think there are limits to that, because I think I do get a happiness benefit from being as active as I am. I'm certain that I'm happier because I'm more energetic, and I think my body produces more neurotransmitters of the right type. Yeah, there's definitely something to be said for physical activity. I think it does boost my mood quite a bit. Without physical activity, I think I'd be a lot more unhappy than I am. But I think besides health and physical activity, whatever happens sort of beyond health and physical activity, it doesn't matter so much, because my brain will adapt to it. It's really an interesting concept. So really, it doesn't matter what political party is in office. It doesn't matter if there's a pandemic or not, because we just adjust to the new normal. So anyway, that's kind of been on my mind. And it actually doesn't matter. To me, I sort of have this, what I'd call sort of a nihilistic perspective, where there's no intrinsic purpose in the world, and certainly no objective sense of purpose, or there's no objective purpose. I have a very existentialist, postmodern, or even modern view of purpose, that, human beings make up our purpose as we go, and that's perfectly appropriate. And that totally makes sense in terms of the brain adapting to its environment. So, I think what that knowledge does, what's so great about knowing that, is that I know that it's just relief. It offers a relief and peace for me, because now nothing is imperative necessarily. I can pursue my interests, and I get rewarded for pursuing and achieving pursuing my interests, but it's something I have to fret over. And I'm glad about that. And and I also know that anything that happens should have happened. It's just really the only way that it could have happened. And there's There's peace in knowing that. Anyway, take care.